You know when you're watching your favorite artist perform live, you know every part to every song, but somewhere in the middle of the song, you hear the band play this dope part that just comes out of nowhere. And you're like, what the f was that? That's a common thing that bands do to add some energy and excitement to their live performance. And of course, one of the masters of performing in our time is Bruno Mars. So we're going to take a look at 3 of his performances and see what he did to add to that live arrangement. So we're going to vibe on 24 Karat, That's What I Like, and Finesse. And there's 4 common arranging techniques that he uses between all these songs, and the first one is an epic intro. In Bruno's performance of That's What I Like, instead of starting the song on the hits like the record, the band plays these epic big chords that add suspense leading up to the original intro hits. The drummer is flooding us with cymbals, the guitar player has a screaming lead tone, and it just builds and builds and builds till we pop on that intro. Can I take my time? Can I take my time? Now the next bit of spice is to throw in some cool band hits, but don't forget this important fact. The point of adding to a live arrangement is to make the song more dynamic. So you don't start off with hits everywhere. As we see in all 3 of these Bruno songs, an epic intro can add the suspense, but the song is played like the record until after the first chorus, because after that, when you start to hear sections that you've heard before, you know, like a second verse or a second pre-chorus, we're in danger of getting bored. So in 24 Karat, the first pre-chorus is played like the record. But the second pre-chorus throws in these hits. I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket, keep up. So many pretty girls around me and they're waking up the rocket, keep up. And in That's What I Like, there's these exciting counterpoint hits at the end of the second verse. Counterpoint is when 2 voices or instruments are moving in opposite directions. In this example, the bass is moving down and the guitar is moving up. Now with these band hits, we're getting pretty close to the reharmonization zone. You know, the zone where anything can happen. Any chord can be played over any melody, and the average musician's mind begins to implode at the mere thought of it.
There is a 5th dimension, beyond that which is known to man.
But it doesn't have to be that crazy. It could be as simple as slightly altering one chord to make the listener's ears perk up. After the bridge, and That's What I Like, we have a broken down chorus where we change one note in one chord, and it has so much vibe to it. So our original chord progression for the chorus goes E flat minor 9 to G flat over A flat, F minor 7 to A flat over B flat. And all we're doing is taking that F minor 7, dropping that C down 1/2 step to make it F minor 7 flat 5. So instead of F minor 7 to A flat over B flat sounding like this, change that one note and it has such a vibe. Resolving back to E flat minor 9. And if you're wondering how the hell would you decide to change an F minor 7 chord to an F minor 7 flat 5, all it takes is a little bit of jazz theory. Now the core foundation to jazz harmony is the 2-5-1. And that 2-5-1 is already in this song at the end of our progression, F minor 7 being our 2, A flat over B flat being our 5, and right back to the top of the progression, E flat minor 9 being our 1. But in jazz, a minor 2-5-1, when the chords are resolving to a minor chord, the 2 is a minor 7 flat 5. So by changing this chord, it is changing the harmony of the song slightly to give it a harmonically exciting, jazzy edge. And we could see the same approach in the reharmonization of Finesse. First of all, the hits after the first chorus, you know, that moment when we're in danger of getting bored, are 2-5-1 back to the beginning of the chord progression. So the chords to this song are D flat major 7, C7 to F minor 7. And if we want to get back to that D flat major 7, we could put in that 2-5 just like they do in this song. So the 2 of D flat major 7 is E flat minor 9. The 5 is A flat 7. And that pulls us in to that D flat major 7. And there we have a natural movement that brings us right back to D flat major 7. But there's a stronger reharmonization and finesse during a chorus breakdown near the end. We basically take the same perspective of putting chords together that move in a single direction. So instead of one measure leading to the next, we're going to take the first 2 measures to get us back to F minor. So we start with that D flat major 7 chord and just get rid of that whole next measure with the C in it and create a movement to get us back to F minor. Partially diatonic, a little bit chromatic, and tie it off with a nice 2-5, G minor and C7 to take us back home to F minor. Now that's a perfect example of reharmonization. The last trick that you see a lot in a good arrangement is when they pay homage to a classic song. In finesse, during the dance drum break, you hear this iconic scream, which of course comes from the classic 1992 track Jump Around by House of Pain. And in 24 Karat, the dance break gives a similar taste of an iconic melody, but then eventually breaks into the entire groove of P-Funk's classic Not Just Knee Deep. And dropping into a funky groove, not to mention a groove by the gods of funk themselves, is peak dynamics that you'll notice at any great R&B show. And for that extra bit of excitement at the end of 24 Karat, they throw in these hits just at the end to max out the energy. Now, a similar idea to referencing a classic song is musically referencing the lyrics. The simplest example would be a lyric saying something like, "knocking on my door," and the drummer whacks a snare. But for an arrangement, we can get a little bit more detailed. And that's what I like. The second verse is talking about trips to Puerto Rico. So the band plays this classic Latin feel to take the listener to that beautiful spot in Puerto Rico. So if you want to add some spice to your live set, think about these simple ideas to pepper in there and realize it's not a lot, but it adds so much to the dynamics of the performance. You got your epic intro, you got your band hits after the first chorus, maybe the second verse is a second pre-chorus just so it's not the same thing over and over again. You got a reharmonized chorus near the end of the song, just like even one chord, maybe throw a 2-5 in there, just a little bit, just to spice it up. And at the very end, throw in some musical references or quotes to pay homage to whatever artist influenced this style of music that you're playing. And it's just like that. So if you dug this video, drop a comment, let me know which live arrangements that you just thought are just mind-blowing and epic, and I'll check them out. Otherwise, please subscribe and support the channel at least like that. Keep jamming, stay nasty.